This morning, let us begin by playing with the latest iteration of All Good One's Easy Meditation. We're going to start with Mahayoga's loving leap over competitive jealousy, which is the second fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. Oh gosh, okay, I see how this is better, yeah. So let's do another edit. Boy, I am just batting 1,000, aren't I? Here we go. Cut. Paste. Okay. Let's start it again. This is Mahayoga's loving second fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path, the leap over competitive jealousy. So together, let us begin with the, what's it called? Disclaimer. Rather than indulge our controlling tendencies with our follies of active visualization, emotion, magic, and belief, we could just recite these kind words in harmony with our breathing and allow our subconscious to do the heavy lifting. Let us sidestep the rigidity that confuses metaphors with statements literal, and relax into the flexibility that savors the chance explaining metaphors as similes. So we're going to explore some loving wishes right now. These wishes are not prayers to real or imagined entities. We're simply using words to guide intention, to strengthen the neural pathways responsible for empathy. Let's begin. May all minds of all beings now be as peacefully enlightened as the mind of a real or imagined Buddha symbolized by a tikle, one suitable seed or bija mantra. So what we're going to do is take all these words and compress them down to 6 syllables that we're going to divide between our inhalation and our exhalation. This is the mental morality of kind intention, the second fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. May all relationships or speech of all beings now be as joyfully loving as a real or imagined Buddha speech symbolized by mantra. The interpersonal morality of kind communication is the third fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. May all bodies or forms of all beings now enjoy the beautiful Halcyon and Buddha statuary, depicting the blissful body of a real or imagined Yadama, an archetype of enlightenment such as Kuntu Zangpo. The physical morality of kind conduct is the fourth fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. May all circumstances or lots of all beings now have their safe fortune or boon. As a Buddha's real or imagined paradise, pure land or Vati. The circumstantial morality of kind commerce is the fifth fold of the Buddha's eightfold path. I now look forward to performing the gentle contemplations of Mahayoga's wise leap over clinging pride, the first fold of the Buddha's eightfold path. And sadly, this is going to require an additional edit because sometimes life is funny that way. So let's hit cut, and let's write wisdom. Oh, right. And we're going to begin this after approximately after I take less than a minute to introduce myself. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I've spent about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that you would not have to. Welcome again to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. Yes, and so as I already said once before, we're now returned to Mahayoga's wisdom, which is the first fold of the Buddha. The first fold of the Buddha's eightfold path, also known as leaping over clinging pride. How good. So we're going to play with let's see here. Once again, this is a really interesting morning, isn't it? Let's hit insert. Watching how all circumstances or lots could be as impermanent and interdependent, as if they could blissfully melt into rainbow light that could delightfully absorb into this body or form. Allow me to remind you that we are using the verb melt as a metaphor of impermanence, and the verb absorb as a metaphor of interdependence. And in the name of fighting fire with fire, we're going to use self-centeredness to transcend self-centeredness. We're going to take all these words now and compress them into 6 syllables that we're going to divide between our inhalation and our exhalation. Feeling how all bodies or forms could be as impermanent or interdependent, as if they could blissfully melt into rainbow light that could delightfully absorb into this communication or speech. Hear how all interpersonal speech could be as impermanent and interdependent, as if they could blissfully melt into rainbow light that could delightfully absorb into this mind. Feeling how all perceiving, emoting, intending, thinking, recalling, and imagining minds could be as impermanent and interdependent, as if they could blissfully melt into rainbow light that could delightfully absorb into our vast empty void. Like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although tantalizing to the eye, could be not graspable to the hand. We come now to Hatha Yoga's mindfulness and meditation, the seventh and eighth folds of the Buddha's Eightfold Path that slice through the duality of dread and desire. So allow me to refresh your memory as to how meditation works. The most efficient way to practice mindfulness is to silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during each inhalation. Doing so induces the cerebral cortex to cooperate with the sympathetic nervous system located in the middle third of the spinal cord. The sympathetic nervous system has evolved to help us perceive vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly. What has it evolved to help us to perceive? It has helped us to perceive sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, scents, and the like, including emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings. But what are we to do with that which we notice? This turns our attention to meditation. What is the most efficient way to practice meditation? When we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, that induces our cerebral cortex to actively cooperate with our parasympathetic nervous system. Ensconced within both the lower third as well as the upper third of that same spinal cord. Kind of like the handle of a Tootsie Pop, isn't it? This parasympathetic nervous system has evolved to help us both physically relax as well as mentally release. So I invite you to practice Hatha Yoga with me for 12 sets of 12 repetitions. How do we count 12 repetitions on just 4 fingers and 1 thumb? Simple. During the inhalation, when we're silently and mentally reciting the demonstrative pronoun this, we can advance the thumb, the right thumb, beginning with the right little finger and working our way to the left index finger. Let us perform this Hatha Yoga right now. Well, how do we count multiple sets of 12 repetitions? Well, we count the sets on our left hand, beginning with our index finger and moving our way to our little finger. So this would be the first set of 12. This would be the second set of 12, and so forth, and so forth, and so forth. But both our hands are in our laps. Left hand in lap, right hand upon left hand, palms up. Let's continue. And to make things extra interesting, let's make sure to touch the tip of let's use the tip of the left little finger to support the great knuckle of the right little finger. Yes, this could seem ungainly, but persist with me once every 12 hours and by the end of the second week, it could feel like you've been doing it your whole life. Well, that was pretty excited. Southern California just had an earthquake. It's kind of like, the thing quite like surfing concrete to wake you up first thing in the morning. I'll be right back. Please bear with me. And I'm back. If you are an OG like me, you'll remember that in the early 70s, I think it was the Captain and Tennille had a song with a lyric that goes, I feel the earth move under my feet. I thought they were talking about love, not earthquakes. One moment. And I'm back. Pretty weird. Okay, let's go back. Well, that is just odd. Okay, so let's undo that and continue forward. We're going to return to we're going to return to Mahayoga's loving second fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path, which is also known as the leap over competitive jealousy. Let's try 47. Let's try 46. Let's try 44. And now let's make sure. And now let's perform this silent version. And now Mahayoga's wise wisdom-inducing Mahayoga's wise first fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path, also known as the leap over clinging pride. So, welcome to this morning's live stream. These were silent, passive contemplations to help us explore love, loving intention, as well as impermanence and interdependence. We're going to move forward now to Ati Yoga's mindfulness and meditation, the 7 eightfolds of the Buddha's Eightfold Path that slice through the duality of dread and desire. Allow me to remind you that the most efficient way to practice mindfulness is to silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation. Doing so induces the cerebral cortex to actively cooperate with our sympathetic nervous system located in the middle third of our spinal cord, which has evolved to help us perceive vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly. But help us perceive what? To help us perceive sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, scents, and the like, including emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings. What is the most efficient way to practice meditation? To silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during each exhalation, thus inducing our cerebral cortex to cooperate with our parasympathetic nervous system, ensconced within both the lower third as well as the upper third of that same spinal cord. This parasympathetic nervous system has evolved to support both, where's the cursor? To support both physical relaxation as well as mental release. paste. Let's see. Alright, we come to Mahayoga's loving second fold of the Buddha's eightfold path that leaps over competitive jealousy. Well, good morning and welcome to the second half of this morning's live stream. We're going to play with some gentle contemplations that explore the impermanence and interdependence facets of the wisdom of letting go. And I think this, whoops, not so much for that. Welcome to the second half of this morning's practice. Right now we're going to practice or play with a rather passive, gentle contemplation that explores impermanence and interdependence. We come now to Hatha Yoga's mindfulness and meditation, the seventh and eighth folds of the Buddha's Eightfold Path that slice through the duality of dread and desire. We come to our fourth and final set of Mahayoga's loving second fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path that leaps over competitive jealousy. We now come to the final set of Mahayoga's wise first fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path that leaps over clinging pride. This brings us to our final set of Hatha Yoga's mindfulness and meditation, which are the seventh and eighth folds of the Buddha's eightfold path that slice through the duality of dread and desire. There we go, that's much better. Alright, so this is our final practice of meditation this morning, and I'd like to briefly remind you that the most efficient way to practice mindful... Oopsie, there seems to be a problem with the display. There we go, and I scared you off. Fabulous. Okay. Welcome aboard to the final bit of this morning's live stream. Allow me to remind you that the most efficient way to practice mindfulness is to silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during each inhalation. Doing so induces our cerebral cortex to cooperate with our sympathetic nervous system ensconced within the middle third of our spinal cord, which has evolved to help us perceive vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly. But perceive what? Perceive sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, scents, and the like, including emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings. What about meditation? Well, the most efficient way to practice that is to silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease, whilst during one's exhalation. Doing so induces the same cerebral cortex to cooperate with our parasympathetic nervous system ensconced within our lower third as well as upper third of that same spinal cord. This parasympathetic nervous system has evolved to support both physical relaxation as well as mental release. I'll be right back. Let us seal the practice by bringing the 4 bases of mindfulness into Mahayoga's love and release. May all lots of all beings know me as a... May all lots of all beings appearing and changing know me as... Safely fortunate as a pure land of lore depicted in Buddhist paintings. May all minds of all beings lucid yet changing know me as... Peacefully enlightened as our Buddha's mind symbolized by our one honorable vision. May all speech of all beings resounding yet void no... May all speech of all beings resounding yet changing no be as... Joyfully loving as a Buddha's speech symbolized by a multisyllabic mantra. May all forms of all beings sensual yet changing no be as... Beautifully healthy as a Yidam archetype depicted in Buddhist statuary. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 9 2/3 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's evening meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.